Morbius is the best horror movie I've ever seen. Back in 1994, when the MCU began, the filmmakers knew that the epicenter of their film venture was going to be the fan-favorite character Michael Morbius, which is why they made the decision to call it the MCU, the Morbius Cinematic Universe, of course. Even though the character of Michael Morbius had not yet been introduced, the filmmakers still predicted the wild success the film would have. Now, the entire MCU has been leading up to the introduction of this film, Morbius, and so the movie built up a lot of hype with morb heads around the world. When the film finally released, it did not fail to deliver, getting a 209% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes and grossing over $7 trillion worldwide. The Morbius film makes major strides for social progress as a huge leap forward for trans representation in film, as the main character, Mitchell Morbius, is the first trans character in the Morb cinematic universe, as well as in a major Hollywood movie at all. While many trans people transition either from man to woman or woman to man, Michael Morbius instead transitions from man to vampire. In fact, a large chunk of the film deals with him grappling with the so-called second puberty as many aspects of his body transform into those of a vampire. The creators of the film were not subtle about these trans themes whatsoever. Why else would the movie release on the Trans Day of Visibility, after all? This is undoubtedly inspiring to all the trans people out there who watched the film, and may have contributed to how the Morbius movie is hugely beloved by members of all marginalized groups worldwide. That's not the only stride it's made, though. Morbius has pioneered a new technology that will change the way people watch movies forever. Every single moviegoer is being shown the film in their very own empty theater in order to fully immerse the viewer. This reaches a whole new level of enjoyment for the viewer to feel like they're really there, when there's no other annoying audience members to pull them out of the movie or break their suspension of disbelief. The movie truly is emotionally gripping when Michelin Morbius uses his magic bat powers to vanquish Igor Bogdanov. I guarantee that you'll begin sobbing in the theater. This scene really pulls the heartstrings in a way I've never seen before. Jared Leto's performance as Michelle Morbius is astoundingly believable, once again cementing his status as one of the best actors to ever live. Jared Leto is known for really getting into his roles as much as possible and bringing his method acting into the real world, and this is no exception. Now, Leto has faced some light criticism for being probably a pedophile, but what the critics just don't understand is that this is also part of the method acting. He's doing it to get into the role, he's doing it ironically, which means it doesn't count. Michael Keaton also makes a cameo in what many critics are calling his best work in any film ever.
Listening. I'm not sure how I got here. Has to do with Spider-Man, I think. I'm still figuring this place out, but I think a bunch of guys like us should team up and do some good.
You see, this line is actually genius because he says, let's team up to do some good, but in reality they are in fact actually the bad guys. The filmmakers put this line in because both characters are in reality morally ambiguous anti-heroes. Overall, I would consider myself to be, in a manner of speaking, triple morbed up to the max, and will be awarding the Morbius movie a staggering 15 points out of 10. In fact, I'm such a fan of the movie, I'm actually considering seeing it. That is, if I can manage to score a seat.